Welcome to the Squad Show. I'm Sam Ekstrom. Are the Vikings in must-win mode already?
I'm Julia Daniels, Care 11 sports reporter. Yes, they are.
I'm Reggie Wilson, Care 11 sports director. And the sky is not falling, despite what people might feel right now.
In Ron's review, it's at like 55,000 views right now with the last play breakdown of JJ McCarthy. I'll explain that and how he can get better because it's on tape.
Skol! It's the Viking Squad. Everything Minnesota Vikings every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the land of 10,000 lakes. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. It's time to gear up. The Viking Squad Show starts now.
What's happening? It is our Wednesday Viking Squad Show on Locked On Vikings and the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network. Thank you for joining us. We do this Mondays, Thursdays, today, Wednesdays, and after the games. Full Vikings coverage with this crew. We've got Julia, we've got Reggie, we've got Ron, and I'm Sam Ekstrom. Are the Vikings in must-win mode? I teased that in the open. We'll get right to that off the top of the show. Plus, if things continue to spiral, what changes could be made on this Vikings coaching staff? We talked about Justin Jefferson's evident frustration from last week and whether that could boil over. It's not the most uplifting show, so brace yourself on today's Viking Squad Show. We also turn the page to the Bears. Big opportunity for the Vikings to get back to 500. We are brought to you by FanDuel today. New customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I asked if the Vikings were in must-win mode. Julia said, yes, they are. Reggie said, sky's not falling. So already I sense that we've got some disagreement. So, Julia, why is it must-win mode now for the 4-5 Vikings?
I was whenever you sent out the show topics, I was looking at the statistics of everything. And the internet math says if they lose to the Bears this weekend, their chance of the playoffs is 3%. So, yes.
There you go. That's all you need.
So, yes, they are in must-win mode. However, they're sitting at about a 20% chance at the moment of making the playoffs. That increases, of course, if they beat the Bears on Sunday. But should they not beat the Bears on Sunday, they're basically relying on – they need to win out and then also rely on the rest of the NFC to play out favorably for them. So, yeah, that's why I say they are in must-win mode right now. They are in a good spot in terms of their division play because they have most of their division play left to be played. But still – they have to win on Sunday. Otherwise, things are looking very bleak as winter comes.
Yeah, I mean, 2 games back of the Packers and Bears in the division. That's not unattainable, Reggie, right? If you beat the Bears and beat the Packers, you gain a game on both. You would have the tiebreaker over both in that situation. So there's a path here, but it does feel like you need to take care of business in these 2 weeks because of who you're playing.
Yeah, you do. But here's the thing. This is a tough thing. And I when we're at the stadium on Sundays, we have the post game that Ron is a part of, and it's a crazy show. Ron for sure can attest to that. But I think there was a lot of like pessimism, a lot of people, saying some off the wall things. And here's the thing. This is why I say the sky is not falling. I may be in the minority here, but watching the entirety of that game on Sunday, I did not see a quarterback in JJ McCarthy who is bad, who is like, I didn't look at his game and go like, oh man, this kid's terrible. This is not good. I saw a kid who could make some plays, but who left a lot out there. Those 5 batted balls, crazy because even Kevin O'Connell talked about it. Those plays where the ball was batted could have led to explosive plays, including a possible touchdown to Jordan Addison. And so you take some of those plays back and you might have a different ball game. Also, the defense is playing much better. earlier this year, and Julia and I talked about this, it was like, oh man, they can't stop the run. Then it was like, oh, okay, they shored up the run. Now they can't stop the pass. And then against the Eagles and then against the Chargers, it was like, oh man, they can't stop the run or pass. This defense is in trouble. And if the offense is still trying to figure things out, like this team could like free fall. But the defense is playing better. The defense played a good enough game on Sunday to win. But the offense just couldn't stop, as Justin Jefferson always says, shooting themselves in the foot. And if those things don't happen, the 8 false starts, by the way, I think 11 is the record. So, hey, congrats. Could have been worse. But I think they are some better execution away from being able to actually win more of these games. They left some games on the table that they probably should have won. And so when you talk about the path to the playoffs, I think if they are able to play better and execute better, the plays are there. They have to be better. And if they're able to do that, they could go on a run. I think you were kind of thinking, like after that Lions win, that they would go on a run. That game against the Ravens was there for them to take. It was there.
Yeah. I think you could have said the same about the Eagles game too, right, Reggie? Like that felt like a very similar game where you were on the verge and you could never get over the hump.
Exactly. And you just couldn't stop them from making plays. And so I know you can say all these things in hindsight, but I don't look at that Vikings team and think like, oh man, they're doomed. Like I think there are some good things that they've put on tape. They just have to execute better. And I think in that vein, there is a path to the playoffs. I know Ron's ever the optimistic person. I'm interested to hear what he's about to say.
Yeah, let's hear it, Ron. Ron's review.
No chance. They have no chance of making the playoffs. Like I'm just kind of over it. So here's the thing. If they lose to the Bears, good luck. And here's what I said. So Ron's review. So let me go this part first. So if they beat the Bears, and I did the interception. I promised everybody I would do the interception on the fan line, and I did it. And I'm getting mixed reviews, And let me say, when I say mixed, 98% of the people agree with me. There's the 2% idiots that think I mean a true no-look pass when he's not looking at the receiver. And I explained what that meant. And so the quarterback's helmet can slightly turn towards the defender and the flat running back with his peripheral still on TJ Hawkinson. On that interception of Justin Jefferson, the very first one where they were in cover 3, you had a spy linebacker drop. You had a spy safety bracket Jordan Addison on the dig route because they were trying to account for the sticks. The linebacker actually ended up 3 yards behind the sticks. And in the very same play breakdown this week on Vikings pregame, we talked about Lamar Jackson. And if you're the spy, you can't go beyond the sticks or he's going to run. And we saw that happen to the Chiefs. The Minnesota Vikings did a pretty decent job of not doing it. The Baltimore Ravens, on the other hand, gave him opportunities to run for first downs and maybe just hit the first down. Now, I know in the headset, Kevin O'Connell's like, if Justin Jefferson has one-on-one coverage, take it. If he throws the ball outside the numbers, 3 yards, 4 yards outside the numbers, like he's supposed to do, fade over Justin Jefferson's shoulder, not a hard catch for Justin Jefferson, hard for the average human being, that's a big catch, if not a touchdown. I say that to say J.J. McCarthy, that interception was his fault. You can blame Kevin O'Connell, you can blame the play call, whatever. He threw it into double coverage, and he threw it to the safety. He was supposed to throw it outside. If you watch Justin Jefferson run, he's running back towards the numbers, and then the ball's thrown inside the numbers. That's just a bad throw. But here's the math, and Julia's right. If they lose to the Bears, now the Lions have the Eagles. That could be a loss for them, but they're going to beat the Giants. They're probably going to beat the Packers. They're going to beat the Cowboys. The Rams, they probably beat. Pittsburgh, they probably beat. Minnesota, we don't know because Minnesota has handled Detroit so far, but then they play Chicago. That's a win for the Lions. So that's probably the Lions at 12 wins, right? Not 12. 12 wins. So that's going to be tough for the Minnesota Vikings to overcome that. They're not going to be number one. Bears, if the Bears can lose to the Vikings, Pittsburgh should be able to beat the Bears, potentially. Philly should beat the Bears. Green Bay probably beats the Bears, and they play Green Bay twice. So if Green Bay can beat the Bears twice, that helps the Vikings, but it screws them over with the Packers because the Packers can beat the Giants. The Vikings have to beat them. The Detroit Lions can beat the Packers. The Bears lost. We need the Bears and Packers probably to split 6-7. They probably beat Denver. Baltimore needs to beat the Packers for Minnesota. So Minnesota needs help. I say there's probably no chance if they lose to the Bears because they already need help anyway from other teams to beat the teams in their own division just to try to be second in the division. Third in the division is not going to make the playoffs at 8-9. It's not going to work. 9-8. I don't know if that's going to work this year in the NFC because it's so tough.
I agree.
Can the Vikings find 6 wins in this? So Chicago should be a yes. Green Bay could be a yes. Seattle, ooh, that looks tough now. Washington should be a yes. Dallas should be a yes. The Giants should be a yes. And then between Detroit and Green Bay, it's got to be one of them, right? But if you lose to Chicago, now you just made it harder to get to 10 wins. And that's why I say if they lose to the Bears, they need a prayer. They need a prayer, a lotto ticket, and one of the NBA players that bets on these games to put one of these NFL quarterbacks in a poker game to say, hey, you owe us $25 million, but hey, if you throw a couple interceptions, we'll wipe your debt. That's what the Vikings are going to need.
Ron, you are out of pocket this morning. You are out of pocket this morning.
Hopefully everyone
They're 4 and 5. If they go 4
there.
and 6, it's mathematically, like Julia said, with 3%, it's mathematically almost impossible. And the only reason I say that is because the Lions and the Bears already have 6 wins with 9 games down in the season. That was not expected of the Bears. But Ben Johnson, I mean, secretly and quietly, Caleb Williams is they're actually winning games and nobody's talking about it. Like they're 6-3 and they're tied with the Lions and nobody's really talking about how good the Bears are. Like that's what's so crazy to me. And so that's my play breakdown this week. I can't wait because I'm doing some Caleb Williams film study just to show he is a bridled horse right now. He has put on a saddle and said, Coach, well, no, I'm not going to say that because that'd be a pause moment. But he said, Coach, go with me. I can't say Coach ride me because that would Coach ride me because if you put that's a pause moment.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Well, let's move this.
I feel
up
like
in
Mason.
order.
I feel like Mason Cameron right now.
Let's talk about the Bears a bit more. Move that up in the order. Talk about how the Vikings can beat the Bears. Ron, you said you kind of wrote it down as a win, but is it a sure thing that the Vikings can beat this team that has been winning every close game with Ben Johnson? Kind of Vikings-like in the way they pull these games out late. Except, of course, against the Vikings in week 1. We'll do that after a quick word here on the Squad Show. We're brought to you by Betterhelp. The days are getting shorter, the nights, the sunset's coming earlier. It can feel a little heavy when you finish the 9 to 5 and it's already dark out. Life's already packed with work, family, everything else. It's getting colder. This season especially, it's important to reach out and check in. Friends, family, check in with yourself. That's extremely important because the holidays bring a lot of good times. They also bring some stressful times. Gift shopping, gift wrapping, planning logistics, and family get-togethers. So just like checking on a teammate or reconnecting with someone you haven't seen in a while, like how that can lift your spirits, reaching out for therapy can make a real difference too. BetterHelp makes that first step easier by connecting you with a licensed therapist online from wherever you are. They will match you with a therapist who fits your needs. Switch anytime if it's not the right match. This month, don't wait to reach out. Whether you're checking in on a friend or reaching out to a therapist yourself, BetterHelp makes it simple to take that first step. Listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/lockedon. BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Because taking that step toward support might just leave you wondering, why didn't I do this sooner? I got the email yesterday that Burkhardt and Brady are calling the Vikings-Bears game. Little surprised. 4-5 team getting the top billing on Sunday.
It's not us. It's not us. It's the Bears.
It's all about Caleb right now. It's all about the Bears and the Colston Loveland getting free for a game-winning touchdown. Caleb Williams scrambling around the New York Giants for a game-winning touchdown. They beat the Raiders with a walk-off kick, I think. They've been winning all sorts of close games. They're 6-3, not collapsing like they did last year with the new head coach, Ben Johnson. So, Reggie, are the Bears for real? Vikings are favored in this game by 3.
Yeah, and that's telling. I said that last night on the news. I was like, what does Vegas know? I think Vegas knows that the Bears really haven't beat anybody. Can we just go there? Okay. The Cowboys, Raiders, they stink. Commanders, they stink. Saints, they stink. The only real legitimate team that they played, the Ravens, didn't even have Lamar Jackson. They lost. Bengals, they stink. Giants, they stink. You could say hey, this is just building character for this team. They're just learning how to win. They're coming back. You're having to come from behind to win against some terrible teams. What is that really saying? I think Vegas is just who are you guys really? And, I enjoy watching Caleb Williams play because I think he's very talented. I also think he is sometimes his own hindrance because I don't really know what's going on up here. I think Ben Johnson is trying to do the best that he can to maximize the talents that Caleb Williams has because he is uber talented. But there are still sometimes, just like watching Jordan Love, there are still sometimes where he makes decisions where you're just what are you doing? Are you even, is your brain even there? And I think that's probably part of it as well. I just don't know what team is going to show up against the Vikings. We saw on week 1, that fourth quarter collapse was one for the ages. JJ McCarthy, he's here, and he brings them back 21 points in that fourth quarter. I think I'm interested to see which team shows up. I do think that there's a lot of confidence that has been built from them learning how to come from behind and win these games. And just going on this win streak is giving them a lot of confidence. I get it. But they didn't beat anybody that is really going to do anything in terms of postseason play. None of those teams that they beat, I don't think are making the playoffs. And so they got to show me a little bit more. And I think Vegas is skeptical too, because you got a Vikings team that can't seem to get out of their own way. They can't put it together to string along any wins. And they're yeah, we'll give them 3. They can win by 3.
Every other year, Ron, when the Vikings win all these games coming from behind, winning close games late, everyone calls them frauds. They're frauds. It's not sustainable. Mm-hmm. 1-score games means you're going to regress eventually. So if we apply that same logic, the Bears would be due for some regression. Now they can run the ball. I will give them that. They can run the ball. I don't know how much I trust the drop back game of Caleb Williams at this point. I still think he can burn you with his legs as he did New York. There are some scary elements to that offense, but Brian Flores has had success thus far against Caleb Williams. How do you handicap this game?
Yeah, so the craziest thing for the Vikings to be a favorite and the Bears, offensively, are putting up way more yards right now than Minnesota Vikings. And so, one, I think they're giving them, I think this will be one of those games. I think, like I said, I looked at the Packers, Chicago, too. I highlighted, so the way I did it, people, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to these stats, but I highlighted each team's guaranteed wins, right? When I look at the Packers, I originally highlighted the Bears as a guaranteed win, but I think that's the old nostalgia of me thinking the Bears are just going to lose to the Packers. Because I think what Aaron Rodgers said, I own you. I own, Chicago. I don't feel like that the Packers having a absolute path through the Bears right now. And so I kind of got to remove that. So I'd say the Lions have 3 guaranteed wins, which I think the Lions can beat Chicago. So you got New York, Dallas, Chicago. I think the Bears have 1 guaranteed win in this, which is Cleveland. I'd say the Packers have 2, which is New York and Denver, but Denver is actually not a guarantee. And then the Vikings, Washington, Dallas, New York. I think the Vikings have just as good of a chance to win a guaranteed 3 as the Lions. The Bears could honestly lose to the Vikings, Pittsburgh, Philly, Green Bay, 49ers, and Detroit. So it could be one of the worst collapses in Chicago history, and that would be so Chicago of them. That is what the fans are waiting on, is when is this other shoe going to drop? When are we going to get disappointed? When are we going to end up like we always end up, and we're wondering, is this our head coach? Is this the guy for our future? Now, Ben Johnson maybe has a love Dan Campbell in him, and he can't. But the way I look at this game, Sam, is it's going to come down to the Minnesota Vikings forcing Caleb Williams to truly have to beat him with his arm. He hasn't truly had to beat anybody with his arm. Like you said, the run game right now is doing very well, 147 yards per game. They're top 2 in the NFL running the ball. And so where did Ben Johnson learn that from? Detroit. Like, he's literally just doing what he did in Detroit. He's saying, look, I'm going to run and run and run, and we're going to wear down this defensive line, so then when it's time to pass, they can't get after my quarterback, and my quarterback can scramble. Again, the Vikings probably weren't supposed to win that first game against the Bears. Imagine what the Viking season would look like right now if they were 3-6. Yeah. Like, it would be gross. We would be talking about trading everybody away. We'd be talking about firing the front office. Like, them walking away with that win against the Bears after J.J. McCarthy's pick 6, like, oh my goodness. And the Bears right now are riding a 5-1 record. Like, they are 5-1 after their first 2 games. So, or no, sorry, 5-2.
5-2.
Sorry.
Or is
no. They lost 2. They're 6-1.
6-2 after the first game because they're 6-3 now.
Yeah. They lost the first 2 games. No, they lost the very first 2 games.
Oh, okay.
So they won. Yeah, they're 6-1. I knew I had it right in my head. They're 6-1 since the first 2 losses. So imagine that. They're riding a 6-1 streak right now. And that's where they feel. Like, they don't feel like they should have lost to the Vikings, and they played the Lions. So that was a loss. Like, we knew we were going to lose to the Lions. Like, but other than that, they're like, man, we shouldn't have lost to the Vikings. We should be 7-2 right now. Like, that's how they feel in their mind. And so when they're walking in the U.S. Bank Stadium, the way I handicap it is it's going to come down to, can Brian Flores strike fear in Caleb Williams? If he doesn't, it's over. Because if he's confident, they're going to pick the Vikings apart because he's not going to feel rushed. If he feels rushed, then the Vikings have a chance. I say on the other side, J.J. McCarthy is much better than he was week 1. But can he not make the throws down the field sometimes when he has the easy first down? I get going for the gusto and trying to go for the jugular, but this is one of those games Kevin O'Connell has to show patience. I just don't know if he can.
Yeah, Julia, I would not be surprised, and this is maybe a little overly optimistic after what we just saw. I would not be surprised if we saw such a focused Vikings team after so many mistakes kind of coming together. They had the big meeting with all the leadership and talked about addressing these issues and mistakes. I would not be surprised if the Vikings had an explosive first half and built a big lead in this game. It wouldn't surprise me because this has been such a Jekyll Hyde team all season. If they followed up their worst performance with their best performance, it wouldn't surprise me that much. Like, I think that's on the table for Sunday. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that if we've learned anything about this Vikings team, it's that they certainly learn from their mistakes. There's no pattern here of a bunch of similar mistakes that they're making in every single loss. It's different mistakes that they're making in the different losses. And I think that also there is camaraderie and culture that's been built where there is a lot of respect amongst this team. People have asked me this a lot because this has been arguably one of the lower seasons in terms of seasons that I've covered the Vikings. And people are like, so is the locker room, like, is it kind of, are the vibes weird in the locker room? And I'm like, no, I don't think I've ever been in the locker room, win or lose, and the vibe has been different in any kind of way. The guys really know how to wipe a slate clean, move on to the next thing. And I think that that's something that, I have a lot of friends that cover a lot of different NFL teams, and it's not the same everywhere else. It's very much guys get down in the dumps, and the Vikings locker room is not like that. And I think that that's a huge asset of theirs. They cannot have. Whoa. He's digging in.
Oh, Daniel's chiming in.
They can't have false starts. What was it? 8? Is that what we
8? 8's the official number. Yeah.
I mean, I would not expect to see that this week out of this offensive line, and it was a lot of veteran guys. I mean, Brian O'Neill doing
really
what?
I don't know.
You think that's going to happen again?
How many will they have, Ron?
I'm watching. So here's the thing. I think Julia's right because there's an emphasis on this, and I'll let her continue. But the problem is J.J. McCarthy. So if you watch Christian Darrisaw's jump, and so Ben Gessling tried to say he was trying to go something, and which is opposite run. It's not always guaranteed. Like, sometimes just killing the run. It's not always opposite. People always assume it's opposite. It's not. Some of these coordinators have, like Sean McVay, because I've heard the whole tree and everybody's talking about. I don't know if you guys saw the special on. I forgot what network did it, but it was awesome. It was on Sean McVay's Play Drawers. It was a young lady from ESPN did it. It was awesome. It talked about all the people that have had to draw plays, and it started with McVay drawing plays for Shanahan. And then ever since, McVay's had a different play drawer. I meant to ask Kevin O'Connell that, like, was he ever the play drawer? But every single play drawer, I hate saying the word like that, they've gone on to be a head coach. So meaning he's giving them the tools and the lessons to be able to say, I am so dialed into this, I can move on. And I say this to say, they talked about the 2 plays in the headset. And if J.J. McCarthy's killing to a second play, the problem is if you're in a tempo offense and you come to the line of scrimmage and they're waiting for the set up, because it's quick, he's got to like come up and come with like a calmer, like easy, kill, can, whatever. The way he came up, it looked like he came to the line of scrimmage, got under the center and said, Oscar, like they're like, whoa, dude, that's if you're killing the play, don't yell it at us, like relax. And so I think that's up to his cadence to not do that, because like Christian Darrisaw and TJ Hawkinson didn't do the like, oh my bad. They kind of looked like, dude, did you just call Oscar and you yelled it at us? Like it was almost like, what are we doing?
Well, then maybe they fixed that this week.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe that's to your point. It's not the players. I think it's the cadence of the quarterback, because remember the Cam Newton mic'd up, which is the funniest thing ever, where he checked to something and the guard was like, wait, is that really a check? Like sometimes quarterbacks just get too far out in front of their skis. I don't ski, but I heard that's bad. But they get too far out in front of their skis and they're just going too fast. And I think that's what's happening with this young guy, young kid, rookie, basically. He's getting too far in front of his skis with some of the like line of scrimmage stuff. Like he has to relax. And I'm guessing, I don't know, I might put my headset on and listen to a little bit of the telecast during the when we're at the stadium. But I want to hear what Brady says about these rookies. That's and Sam, that's why they gave Brady the thing, because it's 2 young quarterbacks. He could break them down. He could talk about their hand placement, their elbows, and how they're not doing what he would have did. Like, dude, your quarterback got a concussion. Like that's why you got out there and got to do it. Like, come on now, don't act like you didn't have mistakes as a young guy too. Like, he's talking like these stuff is like just so bad. J.J. McCarthy's hand's not above the ball. That's why he can't throw it down. Like, come on, man. I get it.
Yeah, this was the real like beauty of Brady, is that he didn't get over his skis. He executed the simple stuff seamlessly. And J.J. McCarthy, Julia, it's just like throttle it all back. Throttle back the cadence, the screaming at the linemen, throttle back the throwing downfield when you can run for 5 yards. Like there are just some things where he's got to take a chill pill.
That's 9. It's the German version of him. 9.
I see what you did there.
You saw what I did there,
yeah.
They yell. What?
So Julia,
I watched too much Marvel. Sorry. That's my Marvel coming out of me. If you haven't seen The Winter Soldier. It's J.J. McCarthy. There we go. Strong arm.
Add that to the long list of movies that Ron's given me. So Julia, punctuate it with this: are the Bears like are they for real as a contender?
I think it's very similar to me. Not that you can really compare Ben Johnson and Kevin O'Connell, but remember Kevin O'Connell's first year and they squeaked out all those wins. And hello. They squeaked out all those wins. When you look at the schedule, I mean, I have the schedule pulled up right now and I'm just like, man, it is 1 score games that they're and small margins that they have won by in a lot of these, besides the Lions game where they just got absolutely blown out, which was embarrassing. But I think it's yet to be. I don't think that consistency is something that you can say about this Bears team. I think that they are scrappy, but I do think that they are still figuring it out. And the Vikings, I would assume, are looking at the weaknesses that they have and going to try to exploit, obviously, everything that they can out of a team that I think is still figuring out who it is. I don't think that they have much of an identity just yet, which is to be expected at this point under a new coach. But I think the Vikings have a chance. I think it's right to have them as a 3-point favorite. But no, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, I think that they're a huge contender right now. I think that their record is great. A win is a win in the NFL, but I don't see them as this, like, big threat that you would think that they would be looking at the record that they have right now.
Yeah, even though they're tied for first in the division, I would still put the Lions and Packers in a different class than the Chicago Bears. I think the Vikings are steering up.
You putting the Bears ahead of the Packers?
No, opposite. No, I said I think the Lions and Packers are in a class of their own above the Bears.
That's what I mean. You're putting the Packers above the Bears?
Oh, definitely.
Wow.
Definitely with that defense.
I can't wait to watch that game now. That just got even more exciting. We get to talk about that in a couple weeks.
Exciting. We got to talk about the vibes with Justin Jefferson. Some weird body language stuff on Sunday.
Don't put the mojo out there. Don't put that out there.
You tell me why I'm wrong after this on the Squad Show. We're brought to you today by Supply House. Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today. See parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the biz. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects. No one likes punting. Just go for it on fourth down. Their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. So when you need parts fast for a project, you don't want to wait. Might be an emergency. Maybe you have holiday family visits. Supply House has next-day delivery, so that'll alleviate those concerns. Talk about a game changer. Join the free Trademaster program today. Score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. All right. Ron wants to get into the Justin Jefferson thing. I thought the vibes were weird, and we have no reason to believe that he's unhappy. Maybe he's just competitive, right? Like, I think it was his first year when he F-bombed Kirk Cousins for overthrowing him in the end zone, something like that.
Throw the ball,
like,
Kirk.
Throw the ball. I think that stuff's going to happen. But last couple of weeks, like, you see McCarthy overthrow him. There's a slump of the shoulders. Throws a couple interceptions in his direction. It's hard. He's not even mustering the energy to chase after the guy, right? Like, and he had the drop in the end zone and had an offsides call on Sunday. It was not the most focused Justin Jefferson performance. I think he probably talks tomorrow or today. I'm not sure what his day is this week, and we'll probably hear from him about this. But, I mean, Ron, is there any reason to be concerned that your star, your best player, is showing some bad vibes?
It's like Fight Club. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about receivers not being happy. It doesn't exist. It's all in your head. This is Brad Pitt. This is not real. I mean, honestly, I just don't want to put it out there because, like, we already did this with Stephon Diggs. We just saw A.J. Brown doing it. Like, it's just Terrell Owens. Like, I can go back into the Keyshawn Johnson even with the Bucks. Julia might not even remember that. I don't know if she was even born yet. But, you know, when you look at Keyshawn way back when, right, with what's his name? Who's the coach?
Gruden.
You know, he had Tony Dungy and Keyshawn were just fine. Gruden comes in as authoritative. The quarterback situation wasn't working out. Keyshawn gets asked to sit down just to win the Super Bowl. Stephon Diggs won it out, right? We know that. He didn't feel like he was, you know, getting his just due. Him and Kirk Cousins might not have been on the same page. The thing about Justin Jefferson is you don't want to, I mean, like Randy Moss, you know, when he got up out of here because he's like, look, am I ever going to win the Super Bowl here? Probably not. And that's where I think Justin Jefferson's at. Like, it's not dumb to say it's not in his head. But is he that type of guy that's going to go to the podium and make it public? Or is he going to read a book on the sideline? Or is he going to do abs in his driveway with the media out there? You know, shout out to Terrell Owens. That was awesome. You know, I don't think Justin Jefferson's that guy. Like, I think he is a team-first guy. I think the on-field stuff is just truly in-the-moment frustration. Just like J.J. McCarthy pissed off at his coaches when they didn't get the call to him fast enough, just like when he yelled at his offensive linemen for not doing what they're supposed to do. I think it just comes down to the competitive nature of wanting to win, and I hope that's it. You know, if we see a report, you know, when if the Vikings, let's say, go 4-9, you know, if they're 5-10, do we start to hear rumors of like off-season potential trade for Justin Jefferson? Jordan Addison is going to be the number one guy with Jalen Naylor, and the Vikings are going to try to get draft capital to make this team better. That's going to be the scary future of the Vikings if it doesn't work out and if Justin Jefferson is not feeling like he's getting the ball. Like, because he hasn't scored a touchdown at home, and that's where, right? He hasn't scored a touchdown at home. That's kind of frustrating. And he hasn't scored a lot of touchdowns, period, this year. I think that's the frustration that he's feeling. But it comes down to two, like, is the team putting them in like boom or bust situations? Are they giving them simple reads like he had against the Lions, where it's fade, where it's hitch, where it's a one-step shallow or a bubble route just to your star to give him the ball? Like, that's the stuff I wonder why Kevin O'Connell doesn't do it more. Shout out to Oregon, by the way. If you guys watch the game Friday, just watch how horizontal their offense is. 77.5% of their plays don't go past 8 yards. That's nuts. Like, that's what you call just getting into your weapons and letting your quarterback be a Heisman candidate.
Reg, Justin Jefferson, what's your read on his demeanor right now?
Well, it's interesting because we talk to Justin Jefferson every week, and let's make no mistake about it. This has been a weird season. He's had a weird career in that he's produced, but he's had all this flux at quarterback, and there hasn't been the consistency that maybe you will want for a guy starting his career. You look at his teammate at LSU, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and they got to do it together for years, and you see the production that they have. And it's so funny because, like, Justin Jefferson is a guy that gets a lot of yards, but he doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. And he's a guy that you would think, like, yeah, he should score more touchdowns. And I actually talked to Justin Jefferson leading up to the game, and I asked him, like, hey, like, crazy enough, you're dealing with Carson Wentz, J.J. McCarthy still trying to learn how to be an NFL quarterback, and you're still 5th in receiving yards in the NFL. Like, how do you feel about your production? And he's like, look, man, to Justin Jefferson's credit and to Ron's point, like, he's never a guy that's going to throw the team, throw his quarterback, anybody under the bus. He's always going to take accountability for himself. And the answer that he gave when I asked him about his production was like, hey, look, as long as we're winning, like, I'm good. As long as we get a chance where I can hoist the trophy at the end of the year, I'm good. And that's a good answer. But then you look at the game and you see, like, what's going on. And John Krasinski was like, Justin, like, are you okay? Like, are you good? Like, is everything cool? Is you cool? And he was just like, yeah, like, I'm good. Just, the game was the game, basically. And I just don't think Justin Jefferson is of that ilk of, like, the diva wide receiver. But, like, he probably makes it internally known, like, hey, man, like, give me a chance to make some plays for this team. Because what you saw was, when so many plays didn't happen, and, McCarthy threw a nice ball down the middle right into his hands, and he didn't catch it. And I think Jefferson will probably call that a drop. But I think at that point, his mind may not necessarily have been in it, and he just didn't do what he needed to do to secure that catch that would have been a touchdown and that would have probably changed the game a little bit. And so I think you'll continue to see him get better. I think he's like, look, we're going to go back to it. I think the team is being really careful. To Julia's point in the last talking point, I think they've been really careful not to step on their young quarterback and not to, like, hurt his They say, hey, look, they were really pissed off about all the false starts, but they're like, hey, that's on the whole offense. Even though after the game, McCarthy's like, that's on me. Like, I take the blame for that. The coaches are being very careful not to blame McCarthy, even though, like, he is trying to learn how to be an NFL quarterback for a team that's trying to win. And sometimes it feels like the two of them are going against each other for their own betterment and their own efforts. And so I think that's another case of what Jefferson is doing, is trying not to blame his young quarterback, even though it is frustrating that he's, again, trying to get on the same page with yet another quarterback and still get his production.
Yeah, I mean, Julia, this is the challenge of patience, right? Like, it's easy to say we're going to be patient with a project at quarterback. It's much harder to put that to practice and have everybody be on the same page. Like, ownership might be willing to be patient. GM might be willing to be patient. Is the star receiver going to be willing to be patient? Like, is the whole locker room going to be willing to be patient? That's not realistic to say everyone's going to be on the same trajectory or timeline with that. So, like, these are the risks that you take when you agree that there's going to be some growing pains with this young quarterback. The star receiver might not be satisfied with the results.
I mean, he might not be satisfied with the results right now, but I think if we're going to talk about patience in an NFL player, Justin Jefferson's right at the top of the list. He's been through, as Reggie said, the carousel of quarterbacks. If he's made it through all of that and he's stuck around, I think that I think he's too smart to just give up on this right now. I think that we've seen sparks from JJ McCarthy, and I think it's only up from here for him. And that's a really great trajectory that he's on right now. And I don't think Justin Jefferson's trying to check out of that. I mean, did he have his best game this week? No, he didn't. But I do think, he's a human at the end of the day. So yeah, there's going to be frustrations. He's going to be frustrated with how things go. And in terms of having patience, like just because you have patience doesn't mean you aren't going to get frustrated at times. But I think in general, I don't think he's just going to, up and want to leave just because this season doesn't turn out the way that they wanted it to. This is somebody that finally that they've brought in. I mean, they had Kirk for a while, right, during the beginning of Justin's career, but now the team is investing in a quarterback that we have seen, some really bright spots from. And I think that Justin Jefferson is very much the type that would want to stick around and be a part of the process of making this team great. And I think that, I was wrong. I will gladly say JJ McCarthy has proven me pretty wrong from what I expected him to be. Just we've only seen him in 4 NFL games. And so it would be dumb, I think, of anybody to be like, well, I should probably get out of here if this season doesn't end up the way that we want it to, because I do think that JJ McCarthy has shown us that he has talent and he has a lot of potential. And I think that Justin Jefferson's very much the type that would want to stick around and be a part of the potential that JJ McCarthy has and be his teammate. I think that they could do great things together.
It cuts both ways. The patience can run out quickly, but confidence can also be restored very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Takes 2 games for everyone to be back on board, rowing the same boat, singing the same tune about this is our future, this is our future. I think this is the most important 2-game stretch of the season right here. I think Bears and Packers division games with, certainly you're not mathematically eliminated with a loss to the Bears, but you are virtually eliminated with a loss to the Bears. Cards are on the table here. You've got very little margin for error. Got to get it done now. You can restore a lot of faith if you take care of business. We've got FanDuel locks still to come, including a bonus college basketball pick that Reggie is going to be very interested in. And we'll be making those locks on FanDuel. As mentioned, right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 if that $5 bet wins. It's a great deal at FanDuel.com or the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's the NBA. It's college basketball. It's the NFL. It's NHL. It's college football. This is a fantastic time of year for sports. Live wagering, definitely an option. If you're busy, you're with family, you're at work, you missed the start of the game, that's okay because live wagering options are on the table. You can bet the comeback. Your team gets behind early, string together a same-game parlay on the comeback and see if you can stack your winnings at FanDuel as your team makes that late push. The Vikings line has moved from 2.5 to 3 against the Bears, favored by a field goal at home. Check out that, the spread, the over-under, the money line, and all the props at FanDuel and the FanDuel Sportsbook app. They're the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Welcome back on the Squad Show. Again, tomorrow it'll be Arif Hassan, Luke Braun, Luke Inman, and myself talking Vikings Bears. 2 of the 4 of us won our FanDuel locks last week. Ron, Anytime TD, Mark Andrews, golf clap. Congratulations. Well done. Well done. Julia, Vikings scoring first. That's a win. Well done. Nicely done. Plus 112. You got some plus money on that. Reggie had an Addison Anytime touchdown.
It was actually Jefferson, but yeah.
Neither.
Either.
You've been right in the Jefferson bet there. Did not hit, and then I had Mark Andrews over, and that did not hit either. So we went 2-2 collectively. What do we have this week for?
I will say the entire cast of Vikings Game Day live, and the fans, every single fan in the crowd. I think they counted, because the fans get votes now this year too. The fans are actually beating us this year. I don't know how. We're just too realistic, and the fans are very negative, and being negative wins right now if you're voting against the Minnesota Vikings. But Reggie, every single person in there, I think they counted like over 200 to 300 people that stood around at the end. Because we're going to raffle off actually tickets to the Commanders game, as well as a hotel stay and blah, 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 some other stuff. Reggie, everybody said Justin Jefferson would score that game. So you're not in the, everybody was with you too. Everybody thought Justin Jefferson would score, even myself. And
he wanted to, he talked about it.
They threw 2 deep balls to him. They tried.
Yeah.
He had one to hit him in the chest as well, and he didn't catch that. So, it is what it is.
Low key, Jalen Naylor kind of popping off right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's high key,
Speedy.
Sam. That's high key.
Speedy.
That's high key.
Kids say. Adam Thielen had a couple catches too.
He's clocking that T. He's clocking that T.
And you lost me with the lingo. All right, we don't have TD scorer props yet. We don't have yardage props. You can still bet them blind if you want. Let's go to Julia Daniels first.
What did you say?
I said we don't have the like yardage props, but you can bet them blind if you want, or you can just take something that's on the board.
The blind. I'm gonna stick with the first scoring play, and I'm gonna go Vikings plus 200.
Oh.
Touchdown. Vikings touchdown.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes more sense.
What scoring are they doing?
Yeah. Yeah, it works for you last week. Let's go to Ron.
See, that's why I hate this. So the over-under for both the Vikings and the Bears are literally just their stats. Like, that's why it's so annoying. Because, like, the Vikings are scoring 22 points a game, and their over-under is 25. The Bears are allowing 27 points per game, and the Vikings over-under is 25. So they've met in the middle, and the same with the 23 points the Vikings are allowing per game. So they're putting the Bears at 23.5. So both of those, to me, I'm like, I don't know, because last week I thought the Vikings would score more points, and they didn't against the Ravens' terrible defense. Should have. You know what? I'm looking for a bounce back. I'm going to go Vikings over 25 points. Over to 25.5 actually is the over. I'm taking the over on this. I think the Vikings are going to have an offensive explosion.
Reggie.
Because Julia is one of my favorite teammates, I am doubling down on her FanDuel lock and sticking with my theme the last 2 weeks. Justin Jefferson, first touchdown.
Yeah.
Book it.
Please.
Please. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow. Like, Justin, hey.
Justin,
You're
I
my
got
FanDuel lock.
mythical money. I promise I won't be mad at you, but please.
Tell KO on that first scripted drive to, throw it to you in the end zone for the touchdown, buddy. Thank you.
My spidey sense, it's just telling me that this could have like a Bengals game feel to it. Like the Vikings are due.
Like 47, 45?
Avalanche of takeaways. That's more so my
intercept.
Like
okay.
the Vikings they're on pace for a franchise low in interceptions this year. That can't continue. They popped up 4 balls in the air against the Ravens that just
not in the right place.
Landed in anybody's arms. They are going to have a massive takeaway, like positive regression, where they're getting 3 or 4 in this game.
Oh,
and the spread is going to balloon. So I'm going to jack up the Vikings spread to 16.5. And the Vikings will win this game by 3 possessions, by 17 or more.
What?
At plus 600. It's happening. Minus 16.5 alternate spread. Reggie, this is huge. College basketball tonight.
Yep.
Your Missouri Tigers.
Yep.
Favored by 6.5 against our beloved Golden Gophers and Nico Medved.
Love you, Nico.
Is this in Missouri?
It's in Missouri at Mizzou Arena.
In Mizzou.
Missouri.
And I know nothing about it. So do the Gophers have a chance? Would you take Missouri 6.5?
Smash the over. Sorry, Nico, but you're going down, buddy. Going down.
Clip
Respectfully.
that.
Respectfully.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Thank you, FanDuel. Thank you for the locks. And thank you for watching, listening, commenting, subscribing. We'll be back tomorrow on the Squad Show. Check out Care 11 with Julia and Reggie. Check out the Ron Johnson Show on Tuesdays. And Ron's appearances all across Locked On Vikings and Locked On Sports Minnesota. Have a great day, everybody.